Jesus has just come back across the Sea of Galilee. They land back on shore at Capernaum, and he's immediately beset by crowds. And Jesus begins speaking to the crowds. As he's delivering his message to them, Jairus, the synagogue leader, approaches him and throws himself at Jesus' feet, pleading with him, saying, "Please, Master, come heal my daughter. She's deathly ill." And Jairus pleads with Jesus to come heal her, come to his home and heal her. Jesus immediately stops what he's doing and says, "Okay, let's lead forward." And as he's going through the town to get to Jairus' home, he's beset by crowds all around him. This is where he is touched by the woman with the bleeding issue. The medical term for this is dysfunctional uterine bleeding. There's one of several different possibilities from a medical standpoint that could explain the irregular bleeding, everything from potential tumors of the uterus to just a abnormal hormonal pattern that just was unrelenting. She would have depleted much of her iron stores. She would be profoundly anemic. She'd be pale, weak, and easily prone to exhaustion. This would be the physical demands that would be placed upon her. The social demands were equally as pronounced because of the bleeding and her being ceremonially unclean. She could not be around others or she would make them unclean. She truly would be an outcast from society, on par with a leper, as she has been bleeding for 12 years. So much so that she's exhausted all of her fortune on doctors trying to heal her, and she has nothing left. She would have to rely on the charity of people from a distance. This woman obviously would not have any deep relationships because she couldn't be around anybody. She couldn't be married. She wouldn't have children. And she would be ostracized by all of society because of this. After losing all hope and all faith, she has a spark of faith return, and she says to herself, "All I need to do is touch the hem of his robe, and I will be healed." She manages to work her way through the crowd in this whole process, and that in and of itself is also significant. She would have, from her bleeding, she would be profoundly anemic. She would be fatigued. She would be prone to passing out spontaneously from low blood pressure, and yet she manages to work her way through this crowd to the point that she reaches Jesus and manages to touch his garments. Instantly, she feels the healing take place. Jesus stops. He stops the crowd. He looks around. "Who touched me?" Immediately, Peter says to him, "Lord, you're being pressed in on all sides by a crowd. What do you mean?" And Jesus explains, "No, the power has gone out from me." He gives pause at this moment, an opportunity for the woman to come forward, to admit what she's done, because in so doing, she would have made Jesus unclean because of her bleeding issue. She then presents herself to Jesus and says, "It was me." Jesus, knowing her heart at that point, said, "Daughter, go. Your faith has made you well." And she goes away, obviously rejoicing now that she will be able to be welcomed back into society. Her life forever changed. Jairus has this unique experience from the standpoint of his sense of urgency. I've got to get Jesus there. I got to get her there quickly before my daughter dies. I know he can save her. And then to have this interrupted by this scene, and almost like Jesus is not hurried. There's no sense of emergency. Like, "Okay, woman, you got what you need. All right, goodbye." He takes the time to reach out to her and say, "Daughter, your faith has made you well." Jesus immediately turns and begins walking again towards Jairus' house. And Jairus' friends or family come to him and say, "No need at this point. Your daughter has died." Jesus looks at Jairus and says, "Have faith," and proceeds to go to the home. When he gets to the home, he's there met by a series of mourners who are already mourning and wailing ceremonially, preparing to sit what the Jewish call the Shiva, for the time period of grieving over the loss and the death. And the people are wondering why Jesus is there, and he tells them to be quiet. There's no reason to be wailing. She's not dead. And they immediately laugh at Jesus. And this results in Jesus telling the people to go away. He takes Jairus' wife, Peter, James, and John, and goes back into the young girl's room, and he proceeds to tell her, "Little girl, get up." And immediately she is brought to life. This is the first miracle that Jesus resurrects somebody from the dead. And he immediately tells the people there, say nothing more about this. We don't hear Peter, James, and John say anything to the other disciples, or nothing is recorded until after the resurrection. Both of these miracles are significant in the early part of Jesus' ministry. One, a faith healing where it was unintentional, and all she needed to do was touch Jesus' robe. And the second one, Jesus, by deliberate intention, raises a child from the dead. I have seen miracles take place in medicine that I can't explain. There are segments of the medical community who are people of deep faith, and there are segments of the medical community who are heavily steeped that there's a scientific explanation for everything. They will strive to explain it to their best own understanding, but many times cannot adequately explain it. And that's where the term miracle takes place. It is something that exceeds our explanation, and we have no reason to explain it. Even with today's medical technology and medical knowledge and understanding, there's no way to explain the miraculous.